Yeah, good evening, guys. Good evening, everyone. Yeah. So, welcome to this open session where we'll be actually discussing some important topics, okay, regarding the environmental governance and jurisprudence, okay. So, here to be very, there are certain, environmental laws and also legislations and protocols, conventions, and several other such important governing aspects that you have at the international level, the national level, and all those. That becomes the quite important fact, especially for UPSC. Okay, so like if you see, at least a minimum of 50 to 70% of the questions related to environment comes from this section. Okay, so this is very important topic as such, if you see. And in this class, what we'll be doing is we'll be looking into these topics very much in detail. Clear? And you need not take any notes or anything, because the handout that you see, okay, that will be given to you. Okay, you can revise from the handout. Okay, so now let's start with this topic here. So let us start with this first. Let me ask you one simple question. Okay, there's one simple question I want to ask you. Okay, wait. Chalo. Is safeguarding environmental, or let us say safeguarding the environment or environmental protection as such, okay, is it at the constitutional level? Do we have it in the constitutional level, or do we have it only during the, in the level of policy making? Constitutional level. Can you name the articles? 14? 14? 48. Okay, 48A. Okay, 48 is there. Correct. It is actually 48A. Okay, DPSP. And 20? Fundamental duties. Okay, fundamental duties article number 51G. Very good. And that's it. Does article 21 speak about it implicitly? Right? You must have seen several rivers, lakes are given the living status. Correct? So can I say that is part of the environment? Yes or no? Okay. See, apart from that, world over, there will be several countries sitting together in the international, conferences and all, and they come up with some protocols, conventions, and all those. That gets implemented at the national level. In India, for that to get implemented at the national level, there should be some article that is, giving the powers to enact the legislation. Right? So, that is Article 253. Okay. This is a prelims question. Okay, this session is completely about prelims questions. Okay, they can ask you which of the following articles actually support the environmental protection. Is that clear? So, Article 253 provides let us say it empowers the Parliament to actually make the legislations accordingly, which can make the conventions, agreements, and several other things at the international level that is accepted to be implemented at the national level. Okay. So, you will understand this as we go further. Okay, and Article 51A G, it is not 51G, it is 51A G. 51A is fundamental duties. Under that you have G. Okay, so that is the thing. It was introduced in 42nd Amendment Act. Okay, you must be aware of this, right? So it was introduced in 42nd Amendment Act, where it says to protect and improve the natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers, and wildlife, and to have compassion for living creatures. Okay, that means it is giving you a particular responsibility. As a citizen of India, we all have the responsibility, not just the government having one. Right? As the citizen of India, we all have the responsibility not to harm, pollute, destroy, or keep any unhealthy state of environment. Did you get this? So, that is Article 51A. So, we have it under fundamental duties. Now, Coming to DPSP actually there also you have Article 48A, okay, which is actually inserted in 42nd Amendment Act only. When was 42nd Amendment Act happened? 1976, okay. So here it clearly says that it endeavors to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard forests and wildlife of the country. Okay, so here what you can see is basically it is like, see, DPSP, of course, you know, it is not enforceable, right? It is not enforceable. Then how is this beneficial? How will actually the government, see, it clearly says, it can be taken as guidelines, but it is not enforceable. While making legislations, it can take guidelines, but that DPSP articles are not enforceable. So you know what happens is the government, or generally judiciary, whenever it is referring to this 48A, it takes in conjunction with Article 21. That's why I said implicitly right to life speaks about right to healthy environment. Did you get this? So these 4 articles you should keep in mind. Okay, explicitly it is 253, okay, and 51A clause G, okay, and then you have 48A, and then implicitly you have 21. Is this clear? These are the 4 important ones that you need to keep in mind. Okay, now let's go further. Here, like, see, I would like to tell you one thing here. Do you know Environmental Protection Act 1986? Aware of Environmental Protection Act 1986? So, Environmental Protection Act 1986 was enacted in India, right? This is a legislation. So, you know, this legislation actually is enacted based on the Stockholm Conference of 1972. Okay, so Stockholm Conference of 1972. So, which article was used? Which article was used out of those 4? 253. Okay, it was 253. I told you, international conventions, agreements, and all those you have, that to be implied, okay, through a legislation, to be enacted as a legislation to apply to India, national level, there needs an article that empowers the parliament, right? That is Article 253. Did you get this? Okay, so now, apart from this, you can also look at several other, like institutional architecture that we have in India. Okay, in India, we have triple tier governance model to control and protect the environment. Okay, so what is this triple tier? See, when we speak about this, like when we are saying to control and protect the environment, here it can be like, for example, enforcement, okay, or judicial redressal, okay, or it can be like regulations, or it can be some specialized way of handling the environmental, like, issues. All of these comes into this. So firstly, at the national level or at the policy making level, if you see, you have the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, correct? So this Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, what does it do? It's the nodal agency for the complete administrative structure of environmental protection. Okay, you should, I mean, these are prelims questions. Whatever the facts I'm giving you, these are 100% the prelims questions. Okay, this is what they will ask. And that's the reason this session is designed in such a way. Okay, so please, like, just listen to it. I'll give you the handout. You can actually read through it. Okay, yeah. So now, when you actually look at this here, see, this, like any sort of planning of environmental protection laws, policies, or like coordination or like overseeing any implementation regarding the environment and forestry policies and programs, everything, the single nodal agency is Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Simple example, UNFCCC, right? Climate change, Paris Agreement, Article 253, Ministry of Environment, Forest, Climate Change will take care of it. Okay, Parliament through 253 will enact a legislation. That implementation, operationalization, promotion and coordination, everything will be taken care by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Able to get this, right? Okay, next, see, basically here, let me tell you here one more thing. Have you heard of something called environmental impact assessment, right? So, who is actually the one who gives clearances of this environmental impact assessment? NGT na. No, environmental impact assessment is actually done, okay, where, for example, suppose if I want to put some project, okay, let us say Bandipur, I want to put a railway line, okay. So now if I want to put a railway line, then the question is it environmentally feasible? That is what we look at. That is environmental impact assessment. There is a clear-cut procedure and steps that takes care there, okay. But who will give the final clearance? It is Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Is that clear? Prelims question, very clear prelims question it is. Okay, they'll give you a statement, environmental impact assessment and the environmental clearances are provided by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. True or false will be the statement. Okay, so you must be prepared for such questions. This is completely this session. I'll give you much of facts like this. Okay, and then, okay, let me, I'm asking clearances. Two different things. Okay. See, for example, I will tell you like you do this procedure. So I am an authority who is telling you to do. Okay. So on the other hand, it can be you are doing some procedure. So you are a different question now. And the third one is you will submit the assessment report to me. I will say yes or no. Go ahead or stop it. Right? That is what I was asking. Who is the clearing authority? Okay. So that is the difference. Okay. Yeah. So now, next, okay, see, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, they can ask you about the functions of it. Okay, so it also actually oversees management of any national parks and wildlife sanctuaries. Okay, in the previous open session where I have taught you about national parks and sanctuaries, there also I have given you the list. Okay, wherever I have mentioned center, the center refers to the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change as the nodal agency. Is that clear? And moreover, you can see there are several other environmental legislations or statutes that is actually sort of administered by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Like the Environmental Protection Act 1986, very important one. Okay, the Forest Conservation Act 1980 and the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. These are the core principal pillars of Indian environmental health protection. Is that clear? Or Indian environmental protection. Is that clear? We'll learn about each of these statutes. Is this clear? Now, next, see, firstly, let me tell you one more aspect. That is the first level, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Okay, so that is the first level. So now, the first level is Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. At the second level, you have the statutory regulators. Okay, you have the statutory regulators. Okay, so when you look at the statutory regulators, statutory means by legislation, established by legislation. Regulators means, yeah, they will actually take care of how, they will monitor. They will be at the ground looking at the implementation and everything. Okay, so can you think of somebody? Very good. Central Pollution Control Board, State Pollution Control Board. Okay, so NGT is not the one that will monitor. NGT is the one that will actually take the judicial cases and fast track it. Okay, did you get this? So now I'll tell you about that also eventually. That's a tribunal actually. Okay. So at the second level, you have the pollution control boards. Very good. Okay. So basically here, you know which is the act that establishes CPCB? Tell me. No, it's not Air Act. Okay. Yeah, it is Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974. Okay. Again, prelims question. Okay. Again, prelims question. So CPCB is actually an apex body, which is technical body, which is scientifically managing the implementation part, monitoring part. Okay, so now what you can see is, regarding the pollution matters, it will coordinate with the state control pollution boards. Okay, and it will set the standards of air quality, water quality, and then it will also do the technical investigations and research accordingly, and then finally asks the state pollution control boards to adhere by it. Clear? Okay. Now, apart from that, you can see, think about this. I am the Central Pollution Control Board. There are so many states. Each state has one SPCB. So you are all representative of one SPCB. I am giving you the guidelines. Okay. Air quality should be like this. Water quality should be at this parameter. And you will actually, at the ground level, you will take care of implementation and enforcement of the guidelines. Did you get this? Okay. So, the most important thing here, like, see, the state level pollution control programs and quality control programs, water quality, air quality, everything is done by SPCB. Guidelines given by CPCB. Okay. And apart from that, you can also see, like, one most important thing here you need to remember is the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974. Okay, that establishes the CPCB. Clear? Did you understand this much? Okay, next. Now, the third factor, this is over. Okay, now the third factor is specialized tribunal. Okay, the third factor is the specialized tribunal. Which is a tribunal? NGT. Okay, National Green Tribunal. When was it established? 2010. Okay, it was established in 2010. What was the necessity? Yes, it's a fast track court type. Okay, so the simple aspect is to bring an effective judgment and in an expedited manner. Okay, so anything regarding to protection and conservation of forests and natural resources or nature, that can be taken to NGT. Is that clear? So now, like, see, if you look at this here, there are judicial members. That's why we are calling it a tribunal. Okay, we are not calling a court. Okay, we are not calling it a court. We are calling it a tribunal because there are judicial members and also the experts. Okay, expert members and judicial members. So, like, you can actually see here, NGT is that particular tribunal which takes away the overburden on the high courts and Supreme Courts. Okay, so that is very, very important part. Here, see, now I am coming to the most important aspect. Okay, what are the principles that is applied by NGT? Okay, first one. See, first one is polluter pays principle. Am I right? You know what is polluter pays principle, right? The body or the individual who pollutes the environment will actually pay for the rejuvenation. Okay, and also penalties. Okay. Second one, the principle of sustainable development. Correct? Okay, you know what is sustainable development? Basically wise use principle. Okay, see, sustainable development says in very layman terms, I'll tell you, utilize the resources in such a manner that you can give the earth to the next generation in the healthy state. Okay, that is sustainable development. Very layman terms I've told you. Okay, don't overexploit. If you overexploit, what happens is basically you will spoil the environment. Okay, the next generations will get what is called as spoilt environment or polluted environment. Is that clear? That is what it is. And the third one is precautionary principle. Matlab taking precautions, okay, of like overcoming some adverse events. Not happening, like we have to take precautions from preventing adverse events. Like Paris Agreement. Okay, like that. Okay, so now, so these are the three important principles that is mandated through NGT. Okay, one, sustainable development principle, polluter pays principle, and precautionary principle. Did you understand this? Okay, yeah, three different principles. Okay, so next, apart from that, now let us go into some of the important laws. Okay, so far whatever we have learnt is just the governance over structure overview. Okay, so governance overview. We have seen the articles, 4 articles, correct? And we have seen the 3-tier model of governance, okay, environmental governance in India, correct? At the national level, nodal agency, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Then we have statutory regulators, which are CPCB and SPCB. Then we have specialized tribunal, that is NGT. Clear with this? Okay. Next, Now, let us look at some of the national or nationally important environmental legislations. Okay, so the first one, Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act. Sorry. Yeah. See, the first one is basically Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act. Okay, Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974. Okay, so now when you actually look at this, what you can see is basically here, see, first one, this is very important piece of legislation in India. Okay, because here, why is it very important? Because this is the first major legislative act that has come after independence regarding control pollution. Okay, regarding controlling the pollution, this is the first one after independence. 1947, ulta 74. Okay, remember it like that. 1947, ulta 1974. Water Prevention and Prevention and Control of Pollution Act. Okay, so now what you can see here, the basic objective line, I will read it for you. Okay, then I'll explain it. It says, prevent and control water pollution and to maintain and restore the wholesomeness of water. Okay, matlab very clearly the first statement you must have understood. Prevent pollution and control pollution. Okay, prevent and control pollution, first thing. Second thing what it is saying is to maintain and restore the wholesomeness of water. See, when I say wholesomeness of water, it is actually speaking to the quality of the water. Okay, quality of the water where, like when I am saying quality of water, it should be suitable for various use. Okay, it should be suitable for various use. That is called the what is called as the wholesomeness of the water. Did you get this? So even if pollution, see, first prevent the pollution, then wholesomeness is maintained. Okay, otherwise control the pollution so that any pollution that has actually like deteriorated the quality would be restored to the wholesomeness. That is the meaning. Clear? Did you get this? Yeah. Next. So apart from this, you can see here, now you can see, matlab legislation we spoke, right? There should be statutory regulators. Okay, this is the framework skeleton I am showing you. Okay, so there should be statutory regulators. Okay, regulators kaun hai? CPCB, SPCB. Okay, what will CPCB do? CPCB will actually advise the central government. I told you they are engaged in research, right? Air quality, water quality, everything. I told you what they do, right? So they will advise the government. Okay, they will advise the government, and now based on that, they will get the legislation. Based on the legislation, like you will get some standards or guidelines that is put by CPCB now, and that will be implemented by SPCB. Easy? Okay, systematic way of learning, there is nothing complex. Always the problem is 9 out of 10 students fail to understand the legislations because they read the raw document. Okay, and the simple aspect is there is a way to learn such acts. Okay, now you understood the structure. Once you understood the structure, I am taking you and dipping into each of the acts. That's it. Clear? Okay, now, Ardha aitala ishto? Everybody understood this? Okay, yeah. Next. So now see, simple question. Let us say there comes a program XYZ Water Yojana. Okay, so now this Water Yojana is a state level act. Okay, let us say it is a Karnataka state act. Okay, who will implement it? That's it, simple. Based on the guidelines given by? Simple. Okay, so will it stand, matlab I am saying Water Quality Act, so it should be referring to Water Act 1974. Simple, easy. Now you can write the same in mains also. Simple, okay, that's the idea. Okay, next. So now see, any program for controlling controlling or preventing the water pollution, okay, or like see, controlling or preventing, then there should be like effluent discharge units cross-checked every now and then, right? Effluent andre sewage or waste, okay, that might be coming from industries or domestic areas or cities or anything. That discharge unit should be cross-checked. Who will do the inspection? That's it, SPCB. Is that implementation andre ade? That is what is implementation. Did you get this? That is actually implementation. Okay. So now, see, matlab, like, okay, let us say you have treatment plants, water treatment plants. Specification should be given, na? Right? See, if I am saying there is a treatment plant, water sewage treatment plant, okay, or water treatment plant. So now this plant will work on some parameters. That parameters is actually defined by, yes. Got it? Okay. Based on that, implementation level, overview and all, monitoring and all will be taken care by SPCB. Okay? Yeah, that's it. So now if somebody violates this act, right? If somebody violates this act, then they should be prosecuted. Who will do it? See, actually prosecution will happen through the SPCB only. Okay? See, prosecution will happen through the SPCB only, clearly. Okay? Here. And then, see, now there is one more thing I will tell you. There is some important clause. This is prelims oriented. That is called consent administration. Okay? Consent administration. What do you mean by this? See, there are some mandatory regulatory frameworks. Okay? That means, like, for example, if you have to control the discharge of the sewage or effluents, okay, then like any waste that is being discharged into the water bodies, if you have to control that, then what you have to do is there is a mechanism that will actually sort of regulate and control like all such activities. Like the first one is consent to establish. Okay, here you have to get the consent from SPCB before you establish any industries, because industries will actually lead to effluent discharge. Okay, so you have to get that before construction, installation of any, like, industry, industrial process, anything. Okay, you have to get the consent from the SPCB. Okay, that's called consent to establish. That is again under the Water Pollution Act. Okay, second one is basically like this first one establishes during the design phase only. Designing phase only you have to take. Okay. The second one is consent to operate. Matlab production time bhi hota hai na, wastage and effluents discharge. Regarding that, one has to actually take like grant from the SPCB. Here what happens is the grant is given for stipulated period. Like it can go up to 5 years. 1 year to 5 years. It differs from SPCB to SPCB. Okay. State to state it differs. And it actually says very clearly it says that basically like every 5 years or whatever the stipulated time is, you'll have to revise it. Okay. When you go for revision or renewal of it, they will check the standards. Again, they will actually check if you are actually abiding by it or not. Is that clear? So that is the function of SPCB here. Okay. So now like yeah, so basically this is something that you should know, and this act gives the boards some certain significant authority, like see taking water for sample analysis, or like any sort of like restriction that with respect to state water bodies that they can actually put. Okay. And also like for example they can also put the penalties. I told you, like penalties and all they can put, like for example it can go up to imprisonment also, it can go up to fines also. Okay. So any such penalties can be done. Okay. So all these are coming from the act only. Is this clear? That is about the Water Pollution and Control Act 1974. Okay. Is this easy? Okay. So next, let's go with the next one. Okay. Just give me a second. Yeah. Okay. So the next one we'll be looking at is basically Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981. Okay. So when we look at that here, see. So you can see here. So basically, I've taught you these articles first. Okay, Article 48A, Article 51AG, 253. Okay, so in this only I've also mentioned about Article 21 here. Okay, so implicit mention it is. So next, you have this three-tier or triple-tier governance model of environment legislations in India. Okay, so you have national level MOEF. Okay, then you have statutory regulators. Okay, then at the third level you have the tribunals. Okay, then next we have this national environmental legislations. Okay, we have studied this now, Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974. So I told you it is very important because first major enactment after independence. Okay, so you have major objectives. I told you about this, basically to prevent and control water pollution and to maintain and restore the wholesomeness of water. Is that clear? Okay, so you have CPCB's role, you have SPCB's role. That's what we looked at. Okay, then you have the regulatory mechanism where you have consent to establish. I told you about this. Consent to operate. This can be a question in your prelims. Clear? They can actually give you regarding this particular act, what does these two statements, are these statements correct? Okay, under that they can say consent to establish is so and so, consent to operate is basically so and so. Okay, so that is important aspect. Okay, next. See, this is also one important thing. The act strictly prohibits the use of streams or wells for disposal of polluting matter without the prior permission, consent of the SPCB. Did you get this? They can ask you this question also, who gives the consent? Okay, SPCB. And streams or wells, you cannot use them for disposal of anything unless you get the consent. Is that clear? So that means, you remember I've told you point sources. Okay, do you know this concept called point sources, non-point sources of pollution? Okay, now can you relate it there? Yes or no? This way you can actually reduce, like especially you take the rivers like Noel or like Yamuna or like, you know, Mithi river or like Musi river. Okay, these rivers and all are very much polluted, correct? So these will come into, like, you know, these are the legislations that will help you to actually identify, I mean, bring a solution to it. Okay, next. Okay, this is something key provisions I told you, sample analysis, penalties and all those. Okay, now let's go to this one, Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act. Okay, now see, so this act came up in 1981. Okay, Air Prevention and Control of Pollution, Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981. Okay, see, this actually came up because of the higher levels of, like, you know, the pollution that was there in the country. Okay, so now this was, see, very simply if I have to tell you, Parliament enacted this law, okay, to stand on lines with international agreement. Which article? 253. Okay, Article 253. So there was this, like, you know, United Nations Conference on the Human Environment that was held in Stockholm in 1972. Okay, so based on that, we actually came up with this particular Air Pollution, Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act. Okay, now simple thing. This is the act that defines air pollutant. Is that clear? Very, very important thing. Please listen to this carefully. Okay, when I say air pollutant, it is defined. What does it say? Any solid, liquid, gaseous, which are the substances if present in the atmosphere, and they can be harmful, that is a pollutant. Is that clear? Now, what about noise? Noise. Can I say noise also? Right? Several loudspeakers or like honking, matlab uncontrolled honking of the vehicles, okay, or industries, machineries, okay, all these are noise, correct? So according to air pollutant, according to the air pollutant definition by this act, it not just covers solid, liquid, gaseous, but also noise. Noise is energy. Sound is energy. So it covers the energy also. Is that clear? Did you get this? And very importantly here, see, like for example, it can mess up with the environment, like public health and like also the quality of life. So all those that can mess up with the public health, quality of life and the environment can be put under the air pollutant here. Solid, liquid, gases and noise. Is that clear? Okay. So now see, this is the act that actually gives the regulatory bodies, okay, the powers to set the standards and control the noise and pollution. Is that clear? So now when you look at this here, like the State Pollution Control Board, okay, the State Pollution Control Board actually prohibits operation of any sort of industrial plants and everything, okay, especially in like very sensitive areas. Is that clear? So like this. And moreover, now if you look at this here specifically, like CPCB, what does it do? You remember? Okay, let me tell you one through the example. National Ambient Air Quality Standards. Have you heard of this? Right? National Ambient Air Quality Standards. So when we look at that National Ambient Air Quality Standards, so this has come from the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981. Is that clear? So now, they have certain standards for how many pollutants? 12. Okay, there are 12 pollutants, okay, and they have classified the land use areas into two types. Okay, one is called the industrial, residential and rural areas. The other one is ecologically sensitive areas. Okay, now like there are 12 pollutants. Okay, let me name it. Sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, particulate matter. Okay, like particulate matter you can take 2.5 as well as 10. Two of them are there. Okay, PM 2.5, PM 10. Ozone, carbon monoxide, lead, ammonia, benzene, benzopyrene, arsenic, nickel. Is that clear? 12 of them are there. So for these 12 of them, you have like the permissible limits for like the concentration of these pollutants. Permissible limits remains different for ecologically sensitive areas and for industrial, residential and rural areas. Okay, all these things under the National Ambient Air Quality Standards is actually coming from the Air Pollution Control Act. Is that clear? So now see, look at this very clearly now, like for example, sort of they have asked a lot of times questions regarding this. I'll show you the questions also at the last. Okay, so yes, I will share the handout. Okay, yeah, I've already given it to the team, so they should be sharing it. Okay, yeah. What happened? Okay, yeah. They will actually put it. They'll be sharing it with you guys. Okay, on the YouTube only they'll be putting it. Okay, yeah. So now let us look at the further aspect. See, now what I'm trying to tell you is, see, CPCB, okay, the Central Pollution Control Board makes, like, you know, it collects the information across the country. Is that clear? It collects the information across the country and then it sets these standards, National Ambient Air Quality Standards. Is that clear? And moreover, you can also see SPCB, what does it do? It actually at the ground level, it takes care of prevention, control and also, like, you know, abatement, reducing the pollution. Okay, it prevents first. If it cannot prevent, then it would try to control and reduce. Did you get this? Yes, that's what guidelines body. Yes, ground level SPCB. Ground level SPCB, at the top it sets the national level standard guidelines and all those. What implementing? See, CPCB, that's what I said. CPCB will advise the government. Through the government only it comes. See, CPCB advises the government regarding any making of legislations and all those. See, the simple thing is permission is not necessary, but they have to abide by the guidelines that is already preset. Yes, in the limits of the guidelines they can do. Okay, that's the thing. if they are not abiding by the guidelines? Yeah. Okay. So that is the thing. Okay. Now, see, like, yes, I've told you just a while ago, giving consent to the establishment and also operation of industries, everything comes under SPCB. Okay. So that is the thing. So now, like basically here, see, okay, the governing authority will always be CPCB of National Ambient Air Quality Standards. So the legislation will be 1981 Air Pollution Control Act. Okay. So now, like if you see here, see, in 2009 also, they had actually broadly changed and they have brought some changes in the standards, so that now we are sticking by the international guidelines regarding controlling the pollutant levels. Is that clear? So that is what we are actually doing today. Okay. Next, apart from that, see, when we speak about the noise pollution, I told you that is part of the air pollutant, right? So noise pollution, when we speak about here, like see, under, like they have bought one regulation under this, like, Air Pollution Control Act only, that is called Noise Pollution Regulation and Control Rules 2000. Okay. So noise pollution control and regulation rules 2000 is the set of rules that comes under the Air Pollution Act. Okay. Now what you can see is there are certain set of rules. Okay. Like see, you will be having in commercial areas there is 1 decibel limit. Correct? In industrial areas there is 1 decibel limit. And also in residential areas there is a kind of decibel limit. And also in silent zones. You know what is silent zones? 100 meters from hospitals, 100 meters around the schools. These are called silent zones. Okay. So when you look at that, see, also like they can, see, they will not ask you the numbers. Maybe, I'm not saying they will not, okay. Yeah, maybe they will not ask you the numbers, but they might ask you the aspects is like there are different classification, like silent zones, commercial, industrial, residential, and they can also ask you the timing based also there is changes in the decibel limits. Yes or no? See, morning 6 AM to night 10 PM, there is a different limit, that is daytime limit. And night 10 PM to morning 6. Okay, so that is actually different decibel limit. For example, I'll tell you, industrial areas, 75 decibel. Okay, during the daytime limit. Evening time limits, it is 70 decibel. Okay, now if you go to silent zone I told you 100 meters around educational institution, court, and also hospitals. Okay, their daytime limit is 50 decibel. Nighttime limit is 40 decibel. Is that clear? So like this you have changes. Commercial areas also 65, 55. Residential areas 55, 45. Okay, so this is something that you can see. Clear? But though we do not follow that, right? Though we have a lot of, like, sort of surpassing the limits. Okay, any which ways. Now, there is one more thing. This is about the Air Pollution Act. Understood? Okay. The important thing is about the noise pollution, that is part of the air pollution. High chances noise pollution, they will ask you this year. Okay, high chances. Clear? So maybe, okay, just a guesswork. Okay, next. Then Environmental Protection Act 1986. Heard of this? Very important legislation, right? So when did this, actually 1986, it was enacted. What was the trigger? Bhopal gas tragedy. Okay, Bhopal gas tragedy that happened in December 1984 was actually primarily the important aspect that triggered like the 1986 Environmental Protection Act. Because if you look at this, there was the pre-existing laws. Like for example, just now we have studied, like for example, Water Act 1974, Air Act 1981. But together, these could not actually bring the management of such huge disasters by the industries. Is that clear? So that's why the government of India came up with Environmental Protection Act 1986. Now this one gives whooping powers, okay, great powers to the central government. Okay, so it can take any action, any measures against, like, or let us say, it can take any action, any measures to protect and improve the quality of environment. Okay, to protect and improve the quality of environment, whatever it feels is necessary, it can take the action. Matlab, it's an open, like, firing license. Okay, like that. It gets the grant for everything. Okay, so now, see, basically, what are those powers? Simple, I'll tell you. See, it can coordinate with state government, it can coordinate with officers and authorities. To coordinate, there should be somebody, like if let us say, from central government, somebody comes to state government, they will say, how did you allow this action to be done? Then they will say, who are you to ask me? Okay, so they will say, see, Environmental Protection Act 1986 gives me the authority. I can speak to any state officer, I can speak to any state government, I can speak to any authorities regarding this. Got it? Okay, that is the difference. And also, like, if it feels, then it can execute programs for what? Prevention, control, abatement of environmental pollution. Okay, it can plan and it can execute the nationwide programs throughout India. Is that clear? So, Delhi pollution, they can actually execute locally also. They can execute pan-India also. Okay, and apart from that, see, they will put the standards for maintaining the environment. Is that clear? Environmental Protection Act 1986 has this power also. Okay, then apart from that, you can also see, like, it will actually tell you how to safeguard and how to handle the hazardous substances. Okay, when I say hazardous substances, they have three aspects. Okay, inflammability. Okay, inflammability means catching fire. Toxicity, okay, and the third one is reactivity. Any substance with inflammability, toxicity, and reactivity. Actually, I should not say and. It can be all the three, or it can be any of the three. Okay, all the three or any of the three. If the substance is subjected to, then it is called hazardous substance. Okay, now if the waste has hazardous substance, hazardous waste. Okay, take, like, for example, end life electronic products, TV. Okay, it has several metals that can leach out. It can leach out the minerals, and that can be toxic, that can be reactive, probably inflammable also. Right? Did you understand this? Tire, disposed tire, same. Medical waste, same. Okay, that is the way. Understood? Okay, yeah, next. So apart from that, now see, you must have seen, like in Bangalore also you must have seen, Pinya, okay, or like there is this industrial layouts. Who is the one who is actually restricting that area of industrial location? EPA. Okay, I mean, who is giving the power? That is EPA, Environmental Protection Act 1986. Got it? Clear? And apart from that, like you can also see now, there is one important thing, why I feel this is very important this year. In 2024, there was a small decriminalization of penalty provisions. Okay, that means, I'll tell you what happens. See, earlier, under section 15 of this act, it used to say, forget about sections and all, forget about it. Under this act, earlier, what it used to say is, the penalty for not following the rules will be imprisonment up to 5 years, or fine up to 1 lakh rupees, or both. Okay, but now the changes in 2024 that has happened, it is being said that the decriminalization of imprisonment. Okay, matlab, imprisonment cannot be done. Is that clear? So only penalty can be taken, and who is the one who will determine how much is the penalty that could be imposed? There is a small loophole here, that is adjudicating officer. Okay, the officer will decide. Is that clear? The officer will decide like how much is to be imposed. Clear? So now the question can be, they will give you the statement, then the person can be imprisoned up to 5 years, 1 lakh rupees penalty, or both. Then you will mark yes and come. Okay, so don't do that. That is got decriminalized. Okay, no imprisonments now. Okay, under EPA, there is no imprisonment. Okay, yeah. So this is something. Have you heard of something called extended producer's responsibility? Right, EPR? Okay, see, for example, EPR is actually like, it is, okay, chalo, I'll give you one statement. Okay, you think and answer. EPR is a legislation that is inducing circular economy in India. True? Right? What is circular economy basically? Recycle, reuse, refurbish, right? Yehi hota hai na? Correct? Linear economy is take from the nature, dispose, use and dispose. Okay? But in circular economy, reuse, refurbish, recycle, like all these factors will come. So now, EPR kya karta hai? Extended producer responsibility is basically where you will see that the producer, manufacturer will hold the entire life cycle of the product's responsibility in his hands. Okay, matlab from manufacture, usage to disposal, everything is under producer. I purchased a laptop. Okay, from the time I got the laptop to the time it gets old and discarding stage, even if I want to discard, Apple will say, okay, you give the old laptop, I'll give you 5,000 rupees. Okay, I'll give you 2,000 rupees. So generally that 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, whatever they are giving is nothing but EPR. Did you get this? Okay. So now here, what are the, this is prelims question. Now I am coming to it. Okay. What are the products or the range of products that comes under EPR? Okay. First one, plastic waste management. Is that clear? Most chances you will miss is this. You might think plastic might not come. Correct? Because we don't see it in the market. That's the reason you might think like that. Okay? Plastic waste management, it actually mandates very clearly, the EPA, Environmental Protection Act 1986, mandates producers, importers, and brand owners. Okay? There is a short form for it. Producers, importers, brand owners. Okay? Did you get this? All of them are subjected to collection, recycling, end-life disposal of plastic products. Is this clear? Let us say some XYZ company. Okay? Let us say, hypothetical condition, Tupperware, plastic, the product, maybe let us say we are importing it, we are not manufacturing it in India, we are importing it. Assume so. Now when it is imported, I am importing it, I am responsible for from the utility to end life disposal. That is EPR. Did you get this? Okay. Clear with this everyone? Okay. Next, apart from that, the second one, battery waste management. Batteries. Okay. Batteries now, electronic vehicles and everything are coming up. Batteries. Okay. That is the one. So sodium ion batteries are there, lithium ion batteries are there. Am I right? So all these are basically the batteries that is covered under EPR. Okay. Third one, e-waste management. I told you about laptop, cell phones. Okay. E-waste management. Okay. Now the fourth one is tire waste management. Tires. Okay. Tire waste management. Yeah, vehicle tires only. Okay. So basically, like you can actually consider the tire waste management also. These are the four that comes under EPR. Okay. First one. Second one. Plastic. Second one. Yeah, battery. Third one. E-waste. Fourth one. Tires. That's it. Remember this. This is something they will be asking you. They will see if my guess is right. They'll ask you about these four. They'll ask you which is the act supporting it. They will ask you, is it supporting linear economy principle? Something they'll link like that. These are the three things they can ask you. See, batteries, e-waste we can say, but batteries separately they are covering it because like recycling and like you know that product, I mean collection and recycling, everything is actually done separately. Okay, away from e-waste. Okay, that is the thing. Okay, matlab collection channels will be different, recycling procedures are different, like that. Okay, yeah. Did you understand this much? Huh. Which one? E-waste rules, yeah, we have the 2016 wala rules there. Okay, that also is under this only. Okay, it is deriving the powers from EPA. Okay, yeah. So, done with this? Okay, now let me tell you about, okay, do you know this, the NGT 2010, okay, there is an NGT Act 2010 that happened to bring, it's a specialized environment court, okay, environmental court it is. It is actually a specialized dedicated environmental court, okay. So what you can see is here, what is the timeline? From 2010 to 2016. Case filing date. Okay, from the date of filing, 6 months, it has to be disposed of. Is that clear? That is the idea of speedy and effective disposal of the cases. Are they civil cases or criminal cases? Civil cases, remember this. Okay, it handles the civil cases regarding the environmental protection and conservation of forest and natural resources. Okay, is this understood? Environmental protection, conservation of forest and natural resources. Clear? Okay, yes. Now, you tell me the establishment of NGT. Understand the question and answer. The establishment of NGT was mandated by option A, Article 21, option B, Article 48A, option C, Article 253, option D, Article 51AG. Tell me. 48A. But it is not enforceable. Actually, it was mandated by 21. Right to life. Okay. It was mandated by 21. And here, see, the fundamental right to healthy environment, Article 21. Is that clear? That is what actually mandated this one. But also 253 supported its establishment because the Rio Declaration on Environment and Development, that is 1992, Rio Earth Summit. Okay. So, that is the one that actually brought this essence and emphasized upon access to judiciary and administrative proceedings for environmental related matters. That was established through NGT. Did you get this? Okay. So, now like basically I've told you what are the three principles? Polluter pays principle. Second one, sustainable development, precautionary principle. Okay, three principles that will come under this. Now, let's go to one of the important aspect. This is the question that was asked long back. It will be asked now also. Okay? So, what is the jurisdiction and scope of NGT? Okay? So, which laws will it actually cover? Which laws are not covered under NGT? Okay? That is important thing. I told you it covers only civil cases, right? So, anything, a question relating to environment, that is civil case, it can take up. Okay. Now, first one, Water Pollution Control Act 1974. Yes, it is under its jurisdiction. Okay. So, maintenance and restoration of the wholesomeness of water comes under NGT. Okay. That's why it speaks about Yamuna. Right? That's why it speaks about lakes. That's why it speaks about any streams. Did you understand this? Clear with this? Next, the second one, Water Prevention and Control of Pollution, CES Act 1977. Okay, what is its function? CES. Okay, what is CES? What is the difference between surcharge and CES? Which is actually giving the purpose? CES. Okay, so it is clearly saying you can levy and collect cess, okay, on the water consumed by any person or any individual, okay, especially like that is for industries, okay, If you are providing water to the industries, they are consuming it, उसके ऊपर आप cess ले सकते हैं, ठीक है? And that cess will be used to prevent and control pollution through this act. Okay, this also comes under NGT jurisdiction. Clear? Next, Forest Conservation Act 1980. Okay, see, once in 2012 or 13, along the banks of Yamuna River in Delhi, what happened was they conducted some global conference of something, I don't remember, spiritual or something like that. They did that. Okay, so when they did that, that particular event resulted in like deforestation of several acres of land along the Yamuna banks. Okay, so NGT took it suo moto. Understand? NGT took it suo moto. Okay, and that after NGT took it suo moto, then it dictated. Okay, it persecuted, and also it actually resulted in like the disposal of the case within 6 months. Okay, whatever is the end result, let us forget it. But the question is, the powers come from Forest Conservation Act. Okay, Forest Conservation Act 1980. What does it say? It actually governs any sort of diversion of forest land to non-forest utilization. Did you get this? So basically, this is also under the NGT jurisdiction. Okay, Water 1974. Water Cess 1977. Okay, Forest Conservation Act 1980. Okay, now next one, Air Pollution Control Act 1981. We have already studied that. Okay, and then we have EPA 1986. Okay, see, air pollution, anything related to prevention, control and reduction of air pollution. So Delhi pollution case, can NGT take it? Yes. Okay, next, Environmental Protection Act, basically to protect the environment. Okay, I've told you who has the wide range of power, center or state. I told you Environmental Protection Act 1986. It came because of the disaster of Bhopal gas tragedy, and that previous laws could not actually control such large scale disasters. So what happened was very clear. It gave huge, humongous power to the central government. I told you this, correct? Yes or no? Okay, yeah. So that is one more thing. Next, you have Public Liability Insurance Act 1991. Okay, Public Liability Insurance Act, actually victims will be there because of some accidents. Okay, so like for example, you know this LG Polymers Vishakhapatnam case. Okay, styrene, the gas was styrene. Okay, Bhopal gas tragedy, methyl isocyanide. Okay, so now those victims of those accidents, they should be compensated, right? Insurance and all those relief and compensation should be given. This is the act. Okay, that is also under the jurisdiction of NGT. Is that clear? Public Liability Insurance Act. Is that clear? Next, Biological Diversity Act. Will it be under that? NGT. Okay, Biological Diversity Act. I have told you. Okay, chalo, I have not taught you environment. So let me tell you. In Biological Diversity Act, there are three things, three principles. Correct? One is conservation of biodiversity. Okay. Second one is ABS. What is ABS? Equitable share of, access and benefit sharing. Okay. So equitable sharing of profits. Okay. And the third one is the sustainable utilization of the biodiversity and its components. Correct? These are the three. Anything that is arising as an issue out of these three principles with respect to conservation of biodiversity, NGT can take it up. Okay, that means suppose you set up an industry, you utilize the biological resources and you are not sharing the benefit, NGT can take it up. Did you understand? Okay, so totally there are 7 acts. Okay, there are 7 acts that comes under the jurisdiction of NGT. Difficult to remember? Yes. So I will tell you exclusion. Okay, exclusion is only 2. Okay, first one, Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Okay, Wildlife Protection Act 1972 is the first one. Second one is the Scheduled Tribes and Other Traditional Forest Dwellers Recognition of Forest Rights Act 2006. Okay, did you understand? So these are the two acts that does not fall under the jurisdiction of NGT, but it will fall under the civil court. Okay, normal civil courts. Okay, regular civil courts. Did you understand this? Okay, NGT structure, however, you must have studied in polity, correct? So NGT structure, like, see, there are expert members, there are judicial members, and there is a chairperson. Okay, expert members, they should have at least like sort of 15 years experience in the field of environment. Is that clear? So these are some things that you should know. Come again? There is a separate act now for that. Ecological sensitive areas. Rules. There is a rules for it. Okay. So now I'll give you some small task. Go and check those rules comes under which act. Okay. So then you will get the idea. Clear? So I have told you totally 9 important ones. Wildlife Protection Act and the Forest Dwellers Act does not come under NGT. Okay. Clear with this? Okay. Yeah. Now, you know already speedy disposal means 6 months. Correct? Yeah. That's it. Now, let's go with the, this is about the major ones like, see, here, see, the national environmental legislation regarding pollution. Okay. So we have covered Water Pollution Act and we have covered Air Pollution Act. Okay. And we have covered here the Environmental Protection Act, and this is the EPR. Okay. Then we have covered NGT. Okay. So under NGT, I told you these. See. Clear? Okay. Water prevention, control of pollution. See, 7 specific Indian legislations come under it, jurisdiction. Okay. So this one, Water Pollution Act, Water Cess Act, and you have the Forest Conservation Act, Air Pollution Act, Environmental Protection Act 1986, the Public Liability Insurance Act, Biodiversity Act. Is that clear? Okay. Now, exclusions from jurisdiction, you have these. See, Wildlife Protection Act 1972 and Scheduled Tribes and Other Forest Dwellers Act 2006. Did you get this? These both are not under the NGT. Clear? Now, all these we have already studied. Now let's go to this biodiversity related and wildlife protection, wildlife architectures. Okay, basically. So now, see, when we speak about this biodiversity, forest and wildlife architecture, okay, so far it is clear? Okay, yeah. So you tell me out of those 7 which can be there? Aravallis, Greater Nicobar, both of them. Okay, Greater Nicobar NGT took it. Right? So now that actually comes under, like Aravallis also you can take. Aravallis if you take, see, Supreme Court if it has taken, then probably NGT has no role to take it up because Supreme Court is the apex. Correct? But NGT can take it up because it is Forest Conservation Act. Okay, it can come under Forest Conservation Act. So like that. So out of these, it will come under. Okay, yeah. So Environmental Protection Act also you can take it under. Okay. Yeah. Tribunal se ಮಾಡಬಹುದಾ ಆತರ? Appellate ಇದೆಯಾ? Tribunals, I don't think. See, I have forgotten polity long back. Okay, so please don't trust me here. You can just check once. But as per my knowledge goes, tribunals are for speedy disposal. So I doubt if they have appellate. Okay, so just check once. Okay, so let me, I'm not giving the answer. Okay, I'm not giving the answer because I don't remember. Okay, yeah. So now, is this clear? Okay, Now next, biodiversity, forest and wildlife. Related to that, what are the laws we have? Okay, so see, I'm damn sure nobody covers these laws. Okay, nobody would have covered these laws. That's the reason whatever you are looking at this session, this will be helping you a lot. This is more important for prelims, but I will not say it is not useful for mains, because it is equally important there. Is that clear? So once you download the document, please read through it today only after the session. You will be really 100%, I'm telling you, you will be in a position to stand ahead of rest of the competition. Is that clear? You'll have an edge, for sure. Okay, if your luck is good, the prelims में question आ सकता है, उसमें edge हो जाता है. If your luck is not that good, then mains में तो बिल्कुल you'll get the benefit. Okay, environment based questions when you're writing, you can actually get the benefit. Okay, so yes, now let us look at this. The next one, the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Okay, when we speak about this here, I need to tell you there are some amendments in the recent past. That's why we are looking at these. If it is constant legislation, then I would not take it up. Okay, there are some amendments. That's the reason actually I'm telling you to look at this. Okay, now just give me a second. Yeah, appellate. Within 90 days they have to take the appellate. Okay, yeah. So thank you for updating me also. Okay, yeah. So any tribunal or NGT? Any tribunal, okay. 90 days, okay, good. Yeah, okay. Now see, do we have any issue from wildlife or from any particular flora or fauna with respect to, I mean, as a threat to the environment? Simple, invasive alien species, correct? Invasive alien species. Like if you know the threat to biodiversity, if you ask, okay, invasive alien species also stands good. Habitat fragmentation, habitat destruction, invasive alien species, global warming, there are several of them. Is that clear? Pollution, so many of them are there. Now, when you look at this, we have the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Okay, see, this was actually sort of introduced with certain amendments in 2022. Is that clear? So now, like, why? Because they wanted to address the new, tell me. Artha agಲಿಲ್ಲ. Vermin, okay. Vermin is like when you have more of the population or it is a threat or something like that, then you give the permit to hunt them down. Okay, so like I guess crow is a vermin species in India, if I'm not wrong. Crow. Crow is a vermin species probably, I'm not sure. Okay, but that is the thing. Okay, so like matlab vermin species is not something related to what we are discussing now. Okay, yeah. So now see, there are new threats like invasive alien species. So now these new threats, how do we actually like control? Because it's challenging the biodiversity health or the environmental health, let us say. Okay, so like basically this is the reason the Wildlife Protection Act 1972 was amended in 2022 to incorporate these things. Okay, now see, first thing, like you can see, originally there were 6 schedules, okay, under this act. Now they have actually, to bring some administrative efficiency and to make the governance very much clear, they have reduced it to 4. Okay, so what are those 4 schedules? They can be matched the following. Remember this. Okay, was there any question like that? Previously I guess it was there. Yeah, so I'll tell you that. See, basically there is first one, Schedule 1. Okay, Schedule 1 is absolutely high level protection, okay, and prohibition. Okay, that means those species that will be put under Schedule 1, nobody can hunt it and nobody can trade them, nobody can trade their derivatives also. Is that clear? Matlab, like let us say, for example, if you put tiger there, you cannot hunt a tiger, okay? You cannot trade a tiger, you cannot trade the claws of tiger, ne to skin of tiger, nothing you can do, okay? So, this is something. So, everything is strictly prohibited. Severe penalties will be there, okay? I'll tell you, in olden days, like if you see 1960s, 1970s movies, okay, the villains were shown with the cruelty, hai? So, like Amrish Puri, na? Amrish Puri, right? So, basically there used to be on the wall some, like, the face of the, like some animal, and he used to wear one big chain with the claws pendant, okay? Now if somebody wears, if they put the photo, Schedule 1 activated, okay? So, there will be strict punishments, okay? Is that clear? So, it's not allowed like that, okay? Yeah, so that is the thing. And Schedule 2, okay? Schedule 2, which one we are actually studying, which act? Yeah, Wildlife Protection Act, 1972, okay? Yeah, so basically there is Schedule 2. See, Schedule 1 is highest, okay? Schedule 2 is high protection. I'm not saying highest, high protection, okay? High protection, but relatively reduced penalties than the Schedule 1, okay? So here, like slightly conservation priority will be considered, and they are put under lesser than the Schedule 1, okay? Schedule 3. Schedule 3 is exclusively for plants, okay? Some specifically dedicated plant species are protected here, okay? So, collection of such species, possession of such species, or trade of those plants is completely prevented. No exploitation, no over-exploitation, okay? So, that, I mean, the idea is to keep them in their native habitat, okay? The idea is to actually keep them in native habitat, matlab in situ conservation, okay? Did you understand this? They can ask you, Schedule 3 of WPA supports in situ conservation, okay? Schedule 3 of WPA actually keeps the focus on certain varieties of plants only, okay? Now, because only is there, YouTube people will teach you, no, only, extreme statement, काट लो इसको, है ना? So, ऐसा मत करना, ठीक है? Got it? Yeah. Next, there is Schedule 4. So, when you look at Schedule 4, you know sites? This is only for sites, okay? So, like Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, okay? So, now here what happens is, the central government will actually regulate, okay, prohibit any sort of import, export, transport of certain, all the species, certain Allah, all the species that are under CITES. Did you get this? So, now why? What is the objective of CITES? To actually like sort of curb the illegal trade of the wildlife and their derivatives, correct? Can I say Schedule 4 of WPA 1972, okay, has the objective of curbing illegal international wildlife trade? No, na. ರಾತ್ರಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ರಾಮಾಯಣ ಕೇಳಿ ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ಎದ್ದು ರಾಮ ಸೀತೆ ಯಾರು. CITES also has the same objective, da? Whatever it is there on the site. CITES is an international agreement. CITES andre enu? CITES is basically the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Flora and Fauna. Okay, that CITES gotilva? Gotide alla? So basically, the same CITES species that you have, the same species will be put under Schedule 4. Okay, simple. Not necessarily. Any species that is there under CITES, they can put it here. CITES also has schedules. Appendix, not schedule, appendix. So that's why there are 3 appendices for it. Yeah. Okay. Is this clear? Now, IAS is also dangerous. Invasive alien species. Okay. Yeah. So, okay. So, basically, invasive alien species, these are also dangerous. So, what you can see is, like see, 2022, there was an amendment that was brought. According to that amendment, central government has the powers to restrict and prohibit any sort of importing, exporting or transporting, possession, trading or any sort of proliferation of invasive alien species. Did you get this? Okay, there are so many invasive alien species in India. Okay, simple example I'll tell you. There is only one piece of, like, you know, what is called as the savanna grasslands in India. Bunny grasslands. Okay, where is it? Yarappa, Madhya Pradesh? Huh. Gujarat. Okay, this geography I have taught you, so don't be wrong. Huh. So, yeah, so basically it is Gujarat, correct? So in Gujarat, the bunny grasslands, there is one invasive alien species that is called Prosopis juliflora. Okay, so like the same way, if you go to Mudumalai Tiger Reserve, part of Nilgiris Biosphere Reserve. Yes, so there you have cassia. Okay, that's also a tree, flora. Okay, so like this you have a lot of list. Amazon sailfin catfish, papaya mealybug, okay, and cotton mealybug, like this, so many are there. Okay, remember water hyacinth. Okay, there are so many like this. Remember at least 4 or 5. Congress grass. Okay, yeah. Be specific about the grass also, no? Okay, yeah. So basically these are the ones. So see, this will actually disrupt the ecosystems. You know what is invasive alien species, right? So 2022, the power was provided to central government that it can restrict, prohibit any sort of import, trade, possession or proliferation of invasive alien species. Okay, did you understand? If you read it twice, you will remember, don't worry. Okay. Which one? No, you need not read all the invasive species. Whatever is there in the news, you read PT 365, in that whatever is there in the news, or read the monthly magazine if you have read it thoroughly from the beginning, whatever is mentioned, you remember those. Okay, yeah. Next, see, now let me give you one simple example, okay? Elephants, okay? Now, what did it see? Here, Schedule 4, regarding sites, matlab, when I say regarding sites, matlab central government is getting the powers to regulate, prohibit their import, export, transport, remember this, transport, okay, and also like basically to control any sort of trade and transport and import and export, correct? Okay, elephant is under sites. Elephant is under sites. Captive elephants are transported. Example, Dasra. Then that's illegal. It should be illegal. Yes or no? It should be, I'm saying. I'm not saying it is. Two different things. It should be illegal. So, that's why there is one more clause, 2022 amendment. Okay. So, permitted activities with respect to the captive elephants. Clear? Did you understand how the legislations will link? Okay, you guys are from Karnataka, so you should know this very well. Okay, because Karnataka is like, you know, having 1/4 of the India's elephant population. Okay, India has 28 to 30,000 elephants. Karnataka has 7 to 8,000 elephants. Okay, highest numbers we have. Okay, so that is the thing. Next, see, basically here, what the updated act says, it will allow transfer or transport, no import export, remember this, transfer or transport of captive elephants, captive, no wild elephants, of captive elephants for religious or any other purpose. Okay, now the people who are against this law, I mean, see, environmental activists and all, wildlife activists, they question why any other purpose? Why are you keeping it open-ended? Okay, that's the question. So, the idea is because elephants are used in the religious processions, religious festivals like Dasara, Onam. Okay, in Kerala also we use them. Okay, so in cultural events and all we use. So, that's why this clause has been brought. Understood? That's the reason I'm taking the acts which are in the news in the last 2 years. Okay, I'm covering not 2 years, almost from 2021 to till today, whatever is in the news, those acts only I've taken. Is that clear? Okay, next. Understood this much? Wildlife Protection Act 1972 done. Okay. Next, Biological Diversity Act 2002. Okay. When we speak about the Biological Diversity Act, I told you three components. Conservation of biodiversity, correct? Second one, sustainable utility of its components, ensure fair and equitable sharing of benefits. Three things. It will look into these three things. Okay. Here, like, you know, the Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD. Okay. So CBD, whatever the obligations it had put for its members to apply that at the national level, we have the Biological Diversity Act 2002. Clear with this article? 253, very good. Remember that, 253. Okay. So now, very important thing I'll tell you. This act, understand this, this act shall regulate the use of biological resources and the traditional knowledge associated with the biological resources. Is that clear? So, like basically here, it can be the utilization by foreigners, non-citizens, or companies, or non-Indian participation, or Indian participation, anything. We have three-tier like governance. Each of the tier will take care of it accordingly. I'll tell you here, like see, very important thing I'll tell you here, it actually prohibits two things. Any transfer of Indian biological resources, this is very important clause. It prohibits two things. One, any transfer of Indian biological resources or the knowledge related to the resources for foreign nationals or entities is prohibited. If it has to happen, it has to take the National Biodiversity Authority's approval. Clear? Did you get this? Second one, if you are applying for intellectual property rights based on the Indian biological resources or traditional knowledge associated with it, then, okay, whether it is in India or abroad, IPR is IPR. Okay, wherever you are approving, you should actually, like, you should take the approval of NBA, National Biodiversity Authority. Okay, that is the thing. See, one of the most important thing I'll tell you, there are some changes that has happened. In 2023, there was an amendment, and in 2024, there was a rules that came up under this. Okay? So first thing, like here, now see, you look at that strict action. Okay, the law is very strict. Now, then the same way you take our government is promoting Ayush. Yes, what is Ayush? Ayurveda, Yoga, Naturopathy, Unani, Siddha, and Homeopathy. Does it take the biodiversity, traditional knowledge? Then how? So, here, any sort of research, okay, any sort of research, any sort of patenting, any sort of commercial utilization of these resources. Now, these are that are engaged with respect to Indian Ayush, Indian traditional system of medicines, Ayush. Okay, then what happens is, like, it is subjected to the principles of the Convention on Biological Diversity as per the National Biodiversity Act. Is that clear? Matlab, what are the principles? Access and benefit sharing. Okay, conservation. And also, like, matlab, conservation matlab research के लिए आप जा रहे हैं और पूरा exhaust कर रहे हैं, वो conservation नहीं होता है, ठीक है? So, all these things comes into this. Medical purpose only, Ayush I am saying. Research is for that only. Only for Ayush, that's what I am saying. Only for Ayush there is the exemption. Okay? That is the thing. Clear? So, this is something that you have to know. So, under the Biodiversity Act, we have three tier. One is National Biodiversity Authority. The headquarters is in Chennai. Okay? Headquarters is in Chennai. And I told you, it's an autonomous body. Okay? So, like, conservation of biodiversity, sustainable utilization of the biodiversity and its components. Third one, access and benefit sharing. All these three things it will be like looking after. Anything like granting approval for use of biological resources, granting approval for use of biological resources or its components, okay, by the foreign entities, foreign individuals, foreign nationals, NBA is the body to approve it. Remember this. Prelims question. Is that clear? Okay, prelims question. Now, what if it is Indian nationals, Indian companies, Indian entities, it is state biodiversity boards. Every state has its own board, so state biodiversity boards will take care of it. Okay, there is one more. This is very, very important. Biodiversity management committees, local governance level. Okay, what do? They are very, very important because they are the one that engages in participatory approach of conservation of biodiversity. Understand, again I am using the word participatory approach of local biodiversity. Okay, what do you mean by participatory approach? The people in the local area will engage in conservation, mainly that is the thing. Okay, so now when you look at this here, see, conservation is promoted by involving the local, all the stakeholders. Second one, sustainable utilization is promoted, and documentation of local biological diversity happens. Now, for example, see, like locally there is some biodiversity, you will document it, you will put it under BMCs, matlab biodiversity management committees. They will send it to top order. That's how they make the documentation complete. Okay, did you understand this? Otherwise, see, there is one more. This BMCs will prepare something called People's Biodiversity Register. Okay, the question can be about People's Biodiversity Register. What is it? Huh? Okay, see, basically here the biological resources will be there. Okay, and their medicinal values, their traditional utilization, and anything associated like traditional knowledge, everything will be documented there. Is that clear? So, like for example, in your surroundings, let us say in your village, in your surroundings, there is some biological, like, biological diversity, or like, fauna or flora, whatever it is. It has its own traditional usage, and there is some knowledge associated with it that can be documented under People's Biodiversity Registers. Okay, and where is it? Who prepares it? Under the BMCs. Is that clear? Under the BMCs. Did you understand this? And moreover, like here, like within their territorial jurisdiction, there is direct role of benefit sharing mechanism that is like made to apply at the local level by BMCs. Okay, did you understand this? Clear with this, everyone? Yeah. Next, the next one is Forest Conservation Act 1980. There was an amendment in 2023. That's why again I have picked up this. See, without amendments, without changes, I have not picked up any particular act. Clear? So, now, here, Forest Conservation Act, what does it do? What is it conserving the forest from? Exactly. The diversion of forest lands for any non-forest purposes will be checked upon. Is that clear? So, there is a indiscriminate diversion that is happening. So, there is a check on it. Is that clear? So, now what you can see is, like, for example, see, central government has made sure any sort of de-reservation of the forest or conversion of the forest into non-forest use, then it should actually sort of take the prior approval by the central government. I will tell you, that comes under the amendment that was there. Okay, I'll tell you that part also. It is there. Okay, yeah. So this is like basically, now when you look at this, there is a Forest Conservation Amendment Act 2023. Okay, so under this, the amendment is titled as Van Sanrakshan Evam Samvardhan Adhinayam. Okay, I'm really sorry, I'm not good in Hindi. Okay, so yeah, this is something that is called. So basically here, what happens is, like, what does it say? See, definition of forest is changed. Okay, the definition of forest is changed. They have made limited applicability. Like, for example, see, amendment has like narrowed down the definition of forest. Okay, what was there under Forest Conservation Act 1980, it is no more there. Okay, so what they have done, see, land that was officially recorded as forest, they have given the deadline. Land that is officially recorded as forest on or after October 25, 1980, okay, is not part of this. Is that clear? Is not part of this. Matlab, like basically this effectively, matlab, what is happening is any area if it is not registered before October 25, 1980, okay, then what happens is that area, even if it has the characteristics of a forest, it is not conserved under Forest Conservation Act. Okay, so that is one thing. And second one, land declared as the forest by any other laws, that cannot be included here. Did you get this? This is the changes they have done in 2023. Matlab, they have reduced, narrowed down the definition of forest. Okay, and there is one more thing here, like as she was saying, see, basically there are some exemptions for strategic and security projects. Okay, 100 kilometers along the India's international borders. Okay, like LOC, LAC, okay, and those places you can actually sort of use for infrastructure projects, and any forest there can be diverted. Is that clear? And then there are certain other exemptions, like security related infrastructure could place karna hai, so 10 hectares of land is exempted. Okay, and you have to construct some facilities for like housing and all those people of those government officials who are working for security and all, there also you have exemption. Okay, and forest land along the railway tracks, forest land along the public roads, there also there is exception. Okay, that's how they have diluted it. Is that clear? That's how it has got diluted. Okay? So now all these comes under, like, see, there was also a legal definition of forest land that was actually taken by Supreme Court. Okay, under this T.N. Godavarman Tirumal Pad versus versus Union of India judgment. Now they are actually trying to bring back the definition for, dictionary definition of forest. Matlab characteristic based. Okay, that's the difference. Any which ways. So this is about the Forest Conservation Act. What happened? WPA. Yes, WPA. WPA, it is covered under WPA. I have already made one session on national parks and wildlife sanctuaries. You can watch that. Okay, yeah. So done with this. Clear? These are the important national legislations. Done. Okay. So now the next one, international conventions and climate action. Okay. In brief, I will give you this idea. Okay. First one, you know what is Rio Triple? CBD, UNFCCC, CBD, CCCD. Okay. So basically here, Rio Earth Summit 1992. So that is called the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development. Okay. It was held in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Correct? So now what you can see is it's a landmark event. There it resulted in formation of three important bodies or conventions, let us call it as, that is called the Rio Triple. Is that clear? The Rio Triple. So now the first one, UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Okay. So now you can see its function is basically to stabilize greenhouse gases. Okay. Matlab, the concentration is increasing, you need to stabilize it. That's the idea. Okay. Now, see, the recent one, see, first important thing is Kyoto Protocol. See, now Kyoto Protocol is very old. Okay, it's very old now. So, but when you look at this here, basically, the recent one is Paris Agreement, 2015. Okay, so here, in that we have come up with something called intended nationally determined contributions. Okay, every particular country will come up with their own, nationally determined contributions. India also has 3 of it, correct? First one. Reducing the carbon emissions per GDP. Okay. Second one is basically increasing the non-fossil fuel share, okay, in the fuel basket. Third one, increasing the carbon sink capacity, okay, 2.5 to 3 gigatons. Okay, so please look into these. Clear? So INDCs are very important. They've asked last year in mains. Okay, so they can ask you in prelims. Okay, so NDCs are important. Clear? So 3 important ones. Okay, reducing the carbon emission intensity, okay, per unit GDP. Is that clear? So we have actually, like, look into the numbers. You go and check the numbers. Okay, I'll not give you everything. Okay, yeah. The second one is basically increasing the share of non-fossil fuel energy in the energy basket. Third one, increasing the carbon sink capacity by 2.5 to 3 gigatons. Okay, clear with this? Please look into this. Okay, yeah. So now, where was COP30 held? Belém. Okay, Brazil. It's a place called Belém. Okay, so now, like, for example, here the idea was only one thing. They wanted to push for like more stronger INDC, because the target of Paris Agreement is what? To limit the global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius by end of 2100. Correct? But last year June it crossed. Okay, last year June it crossed. So now the Belém conference, the conference of parties 30, okay, they are looking at pushing it further. Post 2030, the climate action goals to be more stronger than the first cycle of NDCs. Is that clear? That is the idea. Okay, so like this is the basic aspect. Under that you can see the NDCs are to be like aiming to keep the global warming less than 1.5 degrees Celsius. Okay, and second one, like to achieve that, it has to look at the funds. So it is speaking about the funds also, providing financial commitments and mobilizing that collective quantified goal on climate finance. Matlab, post 2025, $100 billion. So far only we have not received from the developed countries. So post 2025 also there should be something that is actually practical rather than just on the papers. Okay, and moreover, you know, loss and damage fund. Okay, so we need to operationalize that loss and damage fund. Loss and damage fund demand has been existing since 1990s. Okay, so basically here, like because of the climate change, if there is any loss and damage for the, like, you know, developing nations, like especially the tropical islands and coastal, tropical islands and coastal areas, there is any damage or any loss, for that compensation जैसा ये fund utilize कर सकते हैं. ठीक है? So that $100 billion every year from the developed countries, that $500 billion, in that some part like 150 or $250 billion will be streamlined to this. So to operationalize, we need funding. So we need to actually trigger that funding. Okay, that's what it is speaking about. Did you get this? Okay, yeah. So this is something. Because this happened in Belém, Brazil. Brazil is famous for Amazon forest. So there is also one more key impact of this session or conference, that it says we need to protect the rainforest, sustainable utilization, indigenous tribes ko protect karna, okay, so and bring nature-based solution for climate change and climate mitigation basically. Okay, so that is the thing. Clear? So this is something that you can see regarding UNFCCC. And the second one is UNCBD. Okay, Convention on Biological Diversity. Just now we saw Biological Diversity Act. Okay, Biological Diversity Act 2002 is enacted by the Parliament under Article 253 of the Indian Constitution to make the essence of conservation of biological diversity come into picture at the national level. Is that clear? You remember the 3 principles? First one, conservation of biodiversity. Second one, yeah, equitable and fair and benefit sharing. Third one, sustainable utilization of its components and resources. Okay, yes. So this time under this CBD, there is one thing that is called Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. Okay, Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, one of the important thing that you should remember is (30x30) target. Okay, here the idea is this 30 stands for 30% of terrestrial land. Okay, terrestrial biodiversity, and 30% of the aquatic, okay, should be protected by 2030. Okay, should be actually like, matlab, the areas, terrestrial land and aquatic or coastal areas should be effectively conserved and managed by 2030. That's the target. That will be prelims question. Is that clear? That will be your prelims question. Okay. Next. The next one is UNCCD. Okay. UNCCD. What is UNCCD? United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. What is desertification? Expansion of deserts. Huh? It's not expansion of deserts. It is actually land degradation. Actually basically speaks about falling ecological productivity. Okay. Falling biophysical productivity of the land. Did you get this? मतलब इसका meaning क्या है? What is ecological productivity or biophysical productivity? Generate biomass. Okay. So the biomass generation capacity. Okay. So this is the only convention that has clearly stemmed out of Agenda 21. Clear? Okay. This is the only convention that has clearly stemmed out or come out of Agenda 21 from the Rio Convention. Okay. Is that clear? Did you get this? Okay. Next. See, basically, you know, under this, what can be asked? Land degradation neutrality. Okay. What is land degradation neutrality? Matlab, generally land degradation is happening, let us say in India, the amount of land degradation that occurs in India is 10 hectares. So you will restore 10 hectares. So it is neutral. Either you keep it at neutral or like you keep it at like more restoration. That is what the idea is. Did you get this? Okay. Yeah. So that is the thing. So this is what it is looking at with respect to the desertification control. Okay. Land degradation neutrality. UNCCD, that is what is important for. Okay. Is this clear? Everyone? Next. There is one more thing, that is actually the Basel, Rotterdam and Stockholm Convention. Okay. This is the next set of international ones. Okay. What is it? This is related to what? Basel, Rotterdam and Stockholm. Hazardous substances. Okay. It actually speaks about management of hazardous substances and waste. Okay. So, like when you look at the Basel Convention on the control of transboundary movements of hazardous waste and their disposal, 1989. See, what happened was, you can actually see in 1980s, Italy happened to dump lot of this waste in Nigeria. So that resulted in that outcry of like toxic colonialism. Okay. So that's the reason this was enacted. Okay. Basel Convention. So now here it regulates, not prohibits, regulates the transboundary movement of hazardous waste and disposal also. Okay. So here like basically what you can see is there was a recent amendment that is brought. Okay. Recent amendment actually says it prohibits, here recent amendment ki bare mein I am telling you, it prohibits any sort of waste that is transported for final disposal from developed countries to developing countries. This is the recent amendment which can be asked. So far it was regulating, now it is prohibiting the final disposal. Did you get this? This is very, very important amendment. Okay. Next. So in India, there is a legislation, Hazardous and Other Waste Management and Transboundary Movement Rules, 2016, that is enacted on the lines of Basel Convention. Is this clear? Okay. Next. You have Rotterdam Convention. Rotterdam Convention actually speaks about the shared responsibility. Okay. Matlab there is a point called prior informed consent. Okay. Matlab like the exporting country will give all the details on the platform of Rotterdam Convention, okay, to the importing country, and if both the countries actually accept with clear information given from exporting country regarding chemicals or anything that is there, if both the countries accept, then the trade can happen. Is that clear? That is what it is. So now like basically it is covering everything like pesticides, insecticides, industrial chemicals, all these things will be covered there. Okay. So this is something you can see. And in India, the legislations that is in line with it is first one, Import of Drugs and Cosmetic Rules 1945. Okay. Because drugs and cosmetics both are chemicals. Okay. Second one, Customs Act 1962. More chances you will not prefer this in the option when you are choosing. Okay, Customs Act 1962 also covers this Rotterdam Convention. Okay, then you have Insecticides Act 1968, Environmental Protection Act 1986. All of them are related with import, manufacture, sale, usage, okay, of the hazardous aspects. Okay, did you get this? Last one, Stockholm Convention, related to? You're all preparing for 26, no? Stockholm Convention is, yes, persistent organic pollutants. Okay, so basically here the idea is to eliminate, restrict the production, usage, import, export of the POPs. Is that clear? So basically when you look at this, POP means what? Persistent organic pollutant. Okay, they are persistent, means they are never going to break down. Okay, or we can say they will resist the breakdown. Okay, second one, if they are not breaking down, then they can be acting as a bioaccumulant, right? So bioaccumulant, matlab they can get into the fatty tissues. They are not soluble in water. They can be traveling for long distance, right? So basically now it can be potential, it can travel for long distance. So it will enter, the toxic elements will enter, and it will actually sort of be a threat for life across. Endosulfan, okay, endosulfan, endrin, eldrin. No, there is bromofluorocarbon. So no, there is one list of it. I'll tell you. There is one thing. Yeah, like for example, dioxins, furans. Okay, so there are several of them like that. Okay, and matlab, see, DDT. You know, DDT. DDT is under this. Aldrin, endrin, deldrin. So these are used in agriculture. Endosulfan is used in agriculture. Okay, and you can see heptachlor, Myrex. Myrex is used in chili plantations. Okay, and also toxaphene. Okay, these are pesticides basically. And PCB circuits, you know, polychlorinated biphenyl, PCB. Okay, that is also part of it. These are all examples. Okay, all of them put together, there are some 12 such POPs in the list of these Stockholm Convention. Okay, so those are called dirty dozen. Remember this. This is very important. Dirty dozen. They'll ask you dirty dozen is associated with. Okay, Stockholm Convention. Not all of them, but at least these 12. Yeah, they have asked several times about they have been adding some of them, but this is called dirty dozens. This is the basic list. Okay, yeah, I've given that actually. Okay, in 2025 there were some updates. Okay, so like what I tell you is like Annex A, there have been some eliminations, and they have identified some extra POPs and all those. Okay, so basically there is chlorpyrifos. Okay, these are organophosphate insecticides. Okay, so these actually will develop neuro issues, neurotoxins there. Okay, so there is long chain perfluorocarboxylic acid. Okay, long chain perfluorocarboxylic acid. This is also like what do you call? Matlab it is belonging to that family of perfluoroalkali acids. Okay, perfluoroalkali acids, you can actually see them as stainless steel coating. Okay, stainless steel patra matlab not stainless steel, non-stick ware. Okay, non-stick ware. So you see that non-stick ware, no, dosa pan and all those. That non-stick ware is PFA. Okay, so that is okay. So apart from that, matlab there are paraffins also. Paraffins are also there. Okay, so like this you have the list. I have put this in the list any which ways, you can look into it. Okay, so now in India, which are the legislations that stands for Stockholm Convention? One is Environmental Protection Act 1986. The second one is Regulation of Persistent Organic Pollutants 2018. Is this clear? Okay, yeah, this is the thing. In 2026, okay, that's over about the conventions. Okay, now in 2026, there are certain strategic initiatives. Okay, so first one, have you heard of something called Shanti Act? Yeah, nuclear power. Okay, so that is under Strategic Viksit Bharat. Okay, so this is very important here. The idea is to harness and advance the nuclear energy in India. Okay, so basically Shanti Act is very important legislation where we are trying to change the shape, or we are trying to reshape the India's nuclear energy policy so that we can, like, see, that is a clean energy. Okay, that's a clean energy. And recently, if you see with Canada, we have signed an agreement also for 10 years uranium supply. Okay, so these things can help us achieve the net zero emissions as soon as possible. Okay, so that's why this is also important. That's why I'm teaching you this part under environment. Okay, so this is the thing. So now, on the other hand, you can see they are what steps they have taken under this. First one, they have opened, like, you know, a participation of private players also, foreign players also. Okay, so that is something. So this can be your prelims question. Nuclear power. Okay, nuclear power generation, nuclear power sector is open to private, is open to foreign entity. Both of them are correct. Okay, so that is one more thing. And you know, there is liability framework reform. Okay, there is Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act 2010. Okay, in that there used to be some sort of like issues. That's the reason, like, you know, USA never came to India to establish the nuclear power plants. Okay, so matlab, in case of mishap, who's, like, whether the supplier or the operator, who is actually going to take the like, you know, the burden. Okay, so that was the thing. So now here what has happened is there is also like a maximum financial liability cap that is put on the operator. Okay, so in case of any nuclear accident, operator के ऊपर कुछ financial cap है. Okay, beyond that everything, like, generally will be managed by insurance firms and all those. Okay, that's what the Shanti Act says. And moreover, there is also supplier liability I was telling you, that is removed. Okay, so that is removed. So basically, what did I say first? Is it supplier or operator? But now what has happened? Operator के ऊपर there is a cap. Rest of it is taken by insurance supplier, insurance providers. Okay, so that is the thing. So, like, suppliers, they do not have the right of recourse. Okay, so that is the thing. So this is something that you can see. In India, when you look at, okay, in India, when you look at the, like, you know, we have, like, recently this act has established, I mean, I'll tell you, it is called Nuclear Regulatory Authority of India. Okay, it's an independent body. This is the one which is regulatory mechanism that you can see in India. Before this, like, see, this has replaced the Atomic Energy Regulatory Board. Okay, we had earlier Atomic Energy Regulatory Board. Now it has been replaced with, like, Nuclear Regulatory Authority of India. Okay, so this is something you should have, you should know. See, basically it provides, like, autonomy with respect to function, financial independence, and some statutory powers with respect to security, safety, okay, and also the environmental standards. All these things are looked upon. Is this clear? Okay, so this is something you can see. Okay, next, apart from that, you can also see, just give me a second. Okay, see, there is one more thing that is actually, okay, Biopharma Shakti. This was part of 2026 budget. Okay, I have given the data here, but probably in the budget session, that was open session. Okay, there also they must have covered this. So that's why I'm not going to go into this, but the data is given in the handout. Okay, you can look into this. Okay, here very simply what has happened is, like, the Biopharma Shakti stands for Scheme for Harnessing Advanced Knowledge and Technology in India. Okay, so it wants to make India as a global hub for biopharma sector. Okay, so there is an outlay for somewhere around 10,000 crore for 5 financial years that will be looked upon. Okay, so this is the thing, and you can look into it. I'm not going into that because of the aspect that has already been covered in the budget. Okay, yeah. So now, apart from that, let me tell you, there is some other important, one second. Yeah, some other important things that has happened in the 2023 to 2026 regarding environmental governance. Okay, so let me tell you about that. See, basically there are some market-based mechanisms. Okay, so here there is green credit program. Okay, the green credit program was launched in 2023. Okay, so here what you can see is it's a market-based mechanism where you can see that like green credit actually works on carbon mitigation. Okay, like it works on carbon mitigation. Basically you get green credits. Suppose like for example you go for water conservation, water management, or like let us say afforestation drives. Let us say simple thing, you go for afforestation drives. Even individuals, private, everybody can do this. If you go for afforestation drives or mangrove restoration, mangroves actually are believed to sequestrate 4 times more carbon dioxide than the normal plants and trees. Okay, so what happens is now it will sequestrate a lot of carbon dioxide. So how much ever planting, afforestation, restoration you have done, for that you will get green credits. Okay, so these green credits can be tradable certificates in commodity market. Is that clear? So it's actually on the principles of the carbon credits of Kyoto Protocol. Is that clear? So something like that you can actually see. Okay, so it works like focus areas under the green credit program is water conservation. Okay, and second one is waste management. Third one is like afforestation drives or mangrove restoration. And fourth one is sustainable agriculture. Okay, so these are some of the important ones. Okay, and moreover, you can also see now, like basically here, like almost the last part. So let us, another 15-20 minutes, I'll cover it up. Okay, see, there is Forest Rights Act. Okay, these are the acts which are like quite other acts which are not in the news, but otherwise very important. Okay, Forest Rights Act. Here, you can see here, basically, the forest rights, okay, and basically if you're sort of looking at the forest land, where the occupancy regarding the scheduled tribes and forest dwellers, the rights regarding to them, okay, that it deals with. It grants different 4 types of rights. That's the PT question. Okay, it grants 4 types of rights. The first one is title rights, matlab ownership title for the land, especially for the tribes, because they actually cultivate the land and all those. Okay, so that is for the forest dwellers. Second one is usage rights, minor forest produce. Okay, and third one is relief and development rights in case of any sort of evictions. Okay, matlab removal from the forest areas. If they are removing the settlement from the forest areas, then there should be rehabilitation rights. That is the relief and development rights. Okay, and forest management rights, here Gram Sabha will be the important authority. Okay, Gram Sabha will actually under its authority protection, regeneration, conservation of community forest reserves happens. So four rights are there. Title rights, okay, the use rights, and for relief and development rights, and fourth one is forest management rights. These are the 4 important rights you need to look at. Is that clear? Okay, next, this is about the Forest Rights Act. Remember these 4 important rights. They will ask you, match the following or statements. Is that clear? Next. Coastal Regulation Zone Notification 2018. Okay, this comes under EPN 1986, Environmental Protection Act 1986. So here it will actually regulate the kind of activities that can happen along the coastal areas. So basically, see, matlab not that much. Yeah, of course, there are 4 coastal regulation zones. There are 4 classification, correct? But you can actually 4 zones. You can see based on the ecological sensitivity they have classified it. Okay, but need not go into that core of this 4 zones. Okay, not very important like that. Okay, so basically here what you can see is it is based on the developmental status and ecological sensitivity. They have classified into 4 zones. Okay, so here like the idea is to protect the coastal ecosystems. Is that clear? Because if you protect the coastal ecosystems, the disasters or the hazards that comes from the ocean side are not turning into disasters, like the tropical cyclones, storm surges, okay, tidal inundations, okay, so tidal bores, all these things, okay. Yeah, this is something that you can see. Then there is, you know, Montreal Protocol, okay, that is related to ozone, okay. Yeah, so that is the only protocol in the world which is reached the global signatory and also is a successful one, okay. So, and it also had an amendment that's called Kigali Amendment. Remember this Kigali Amendment, okay. So, you know, this particular one has come up with bringing a rules in India that is called Ozone Depleting Substances Regulation and Control Rules 2024, recent, okay. So it says, because see, earlier we had CFCs, right? Earlier we had CFCs, so we replaced the CFCs with HFCs, okay. Chlorofluorocarbons, bromofluorocarbons were replaced by hydrofluorocarbons, okay. But hydrofluorocarbons are global warming, okay. So they have the global warming potential, they are GHGs. So the target under Kigali Amendment is to get rid of this, okay. So now to come up with that, we have come up with this Ozone Depleting Substances Rules 2024, okay. So, you know, CAMPA, Compensatory Afforestation Fund Act, this thing I have also covered in the wetlands open session, okay. So this is actually promoting afforestation. Suppose there is like cutting off of any forest areas, so there is compensatory, you have to pay the funds also, and you have to actually 1 acre, then you have to actually sort of like compensate with the rejuvenation or like reforestation or afforestation on the some other piece of land, okay. It's already done, it's on the YouTube, okay. So you can go and watch that. In that I have given the details of this, okay. YouTube VisionIAS, okay. In that, when you go and search there, you'll get the wetlands wala thing, okay. Otherwise, after the class, you ask me, I'll show you the video, okay. You can watch it later, yeah. Already watched, okay, yeah. In that actually I have covered it, okay. CAMPA I have covered it there, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, fine. Then also there is one more, like we have Wetland Conservation and Management Rules 2017, okay. So I've told you there is this central government has established something called National Wetland Committee, okay. So under that you can actually see we are looking at reclaiming the wetlands, okay. And India, how many wetlands do we have under? I asked how many wetlands are there in India, not Ramsar sites, okay. So basically listen to the question completely, okay. So we have a lot of wetlands because like paddy fields, everything was considered, but the new definition doesn't consider these paddy fields and all those things, okay. So but otherwise, now when you look at this, the conservation management rules actually speaks about reclaiming like the wetlands from any sort of the pollution that is caused by industries, hazardous waste dumping and all these aspects, okay. So last one, International Maritime Organization Convention, okay. So IMO's convention. So there is MARPOL, okay. MARPOL is basically an international convention where you can see the pollution that happens through the ships, okay. MARPOL, okay. So pollution that happens through the ships basically because of oil, okay, or any liquid substances or packaged goods, sewage or anything, okay, that is to be controlled. So we have MARPOL 7378, okay. And there is Hong Kong Convention. Hong Kong Convention is very important because see, when there is an end life ship, okay, when there is an end life ship, that end life ship, when it is sent to recycling, okay, when it is broken down, it shall release a lot of toxic, toxic output, okay. So that actually will spoil the environment around, matlab especially the aquatic environment, okay, marine environment. So so basically the Hong Kong Convention will determine the safety standards, okay. So within that safety standards, the environmental sound practice of recycling of the ships will take place. And in India, very important aspect, Indian Recycling Ship Act 2019 is based on this particular Hong Kong Convention. Okay, and India aims to make India the global hub for recycling of ships. Kochi port is the hub. Did you get this? This is the question. Okay, these are the ones. So now, so let me show you something. I've tried some mnemonics, but I don't know, it's up to you if you want to remember it that way. Okay. So this has everything that I have taught you. Okay. So I would request you to revise it right today. That will help you. Okay, I'll put it on the channel, don't worry. Yeah. So I'll put it on the channel, Telegram channel also. Immediately after the session, I'll drop it there. You can download it from there. See, these are the ones we have seen. Like first one, Forest Rights Act, Coastal Regulation Zone, Ozone Depleting Substances, CAMPA, and you have wetland conservation. See, wetland and CAMPA, I have not gone much into it because I have covered them already. Okay, watch the wetlands video, it will help you. Okay, wetlands also, what I have done is I have covered the first initial 10 or 20 and the latest 25 to 30 or 35 to 40 something I have covered. And within that also I have covered some important wetland sites. Okay, along with the basics, conceptual part of wetlands. Okay, so that will help you. Please look into it. Okay. Yes, this is something I was speaking about. See, national acts, chronology wise, this is the mnemonic water. Okay, W stands for Wildlife Act, A stands for Air Pollution Act, EPA, Environmental Protection Act. Matlab, I didn't get anything, so T, the, okay, yeah, the EPA. And Energy Conservation 01 and Forest Conservation is this one. Okay, so that's why I told you, if you can remember, you can follow it, otherwise you can skip it. Okay, ecological levels, you remember individual. Okay, so like basically individual, population, species, community, ecosystem, biosphere, that is one. And NGT 7 laws, I told you. Remember, which are the two that is not there? Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Scheduled tribes, dwellers, forest dwellers. Good. You can remember it that way also, otherwise you have this. Okay, so this is one. And you have greenhouse gases, CHAMP. Okay, so greenhouse gases, where? Kyoto Protocol, correct, under Kyoto Protocol. Okay, so carbon dioxide, 6 are there under greenhouse gas, SF6 is missing here. SF6. CHAMPS, you can remember it as CHAMPS. Okay, yeah, so CHAMPS. Okay, next, Rio Convention outcome, FCB. Okay, Barcelona, no? Right, FCB. Okay, yeah, yes, now here we go. This is the time now. Which of the following constitutional provisions were introduced by 42nd Amendment Act 1976 to mandate environmental protection in India? Was 21 introduced then? In 42nd Amendment? No. Okay. 48A? 48A. I have taught you in the beginning of the class. 42nd Amendment Act, the question is speaking about. You tell me that. 48A ilwa? It's not there. Okay, what about 51AG? Yes, okay. 51AG matlab, like you have B, C, D. Out of that, which is the answer? 1 is not there, so 2 and 3. That is the answer. 48A and 51A is the answer. Okay, yeah. Yes. Okay. The National Green Tribunal Act 2010 provides for the jurisdiction over civil cases. Is that right? Relating to implementation of which of the following legislations? here is your question now. Option A. Wildlife Protection Act, is it there? No. Okay, so one, matlab B is gone, D is gone. Okay, Scheduled Tribes, fourth one is not there. So answer is simple. Good, man. Next. Answer is there below. How can I show that? So simple. Consider the following statements regarding Environmental Protection Act 1986. It was enacted under, correct? Of the Constitution, UN Conference on Human Environment, Stockholm, 1972. That is also correct. Okay. Yeah. So statement 1 is right. It grants sweeping powers to central government to take all measures for protecting and improving the quality of the environment. Very good. 2024 amendment to the Act completely decriminalizes the penal provisions for most violations, replacing imprisonment with financial penalties. Easy? Yeah, that's it. Next. Okay, so next. A unique feature of Air Prevention and Control Pollution Act 1981 as compared to Water Prevention and Control Control of Pollution Act 1974 is the inclusion of which of the following in the definition of air pollutant? Simple. Very good. Slow now. Yeah. Stop. Okay. So you have the question exactly fit. So, yeah. Now, regarding the recent changes introduced in the Wildlife Protection Act WPA 1972 through the 2022 amendment. Okay. Consider the following statements. The number of schedules characterizing species was reduced from 6 to 4. Very good. What is 1? Highly protected. Okay. And high penalties, stricter penalties. 2. Yes. 3. Specially dedicated for flora. Okay. 4. Simple. Very good. A new, okay, the number of categories, that is over. A new provision was added to empower central government to regulate invasive alien species. Very good. Center or state? Center. The amendment strictly prohibits the transfer and transportation of captive elephants for any commercial or religious purpose. It allows for it. Okay. Yeah. Got it? Yeah. Sikbirta. Okay. I told you this is an important, okay. The People's Biodiversity Register related to which act? Biodiversity Act, under which tier of governance? BMCs, okay, Biodiversity Management Committees, is a document prepared by which one of the following bodies as mandated by Biological Diversity Act? BMCs, option 3. Okay. Answer. Which of the following international conventions is correctly matched with its primary focus? Stockholm Convention, transboundary movement of hazardous waste. Then what it is related with? POPs. Okay, yeah. So what is transboundary movement of hazardous waste? Basel Convention, good. Rotterdam Convention, climate change mitigation and adaptation. No. So which is the climate change mitigation and adaptation? UNFCCC. Okay. Convention on Biological Diversity, Conservation and Sustainable Use of Genetic Resources. That's the answer. United Nations Convention on Combating Desertification, Global Warming Potential of Greenhouse Gas. Okay. Yes. 30 cross 30. Related to what? Conving Montreal. So which is the, this one, body? UN? FCC na? CBD. So now 30 cross 30 target a commitment to conserve at least 30% of global land and 30% of global marine or coastal areas by 2030 is a key objective of which of the global environmental framework? Answer you have already told me. Kunming Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework under CBD. Okay, simple. One more. Yes. Consider the following pairs concerning India's recent market-based environmental mechanism. Carbon credit trading scheme, green credit program, MISTI program. What is MISTI scheme? Mangroves reforestation. So look at it. Where is mangroves? So voluntary scheme to incentivize positive environmental actions beyond carbon. Okay, so this one. Framework for trading credits generated from mangrove conservation activities. All are correct. Why everybody is facing like, you know. One and two. Why three is not there? MISTI scheme speaks about afforestation and reforestation of mangroves only, not the credits generated. Trading is not there. This will come under this. Okay, remember this simple way how they can trap you for making a negative answer. Clear? Okay, yeah, next. No, it's still there. Yeah. The Shanti Act 2025, which aims to accelerate India's nuclear energy program, introduced which of the following transformative provisions? Opening nuclear power sector to private and foreign participation. Yes. Okay. Next, capping the financial liability of the nuclear power plant operator in case of an incident. Removing the right of recourse against the supplier of nuclear equipment. Yes, I told you there is no, like, you know, sort of, I mean, put on the supplier. Okay, there's no, this one put on the supplier. Okay. That's it. Yes. So this completes the session. Hope it was valuable, helpful. Just one small thing, revise it. I'll put it on the Telegram channel, okay? And also I'll ask the team to put it on the YouTube, okay? So please revise this. This will help you a lot. Maybe, who knows, this session might fetch you 1 or 2 questions in the exam, okay? You come to the class first, then we will look at the sessions, okay? Okay, thank you.